Well, today the free priority deadline for the application for federal student aid, or FAFSA, was extended to April 15th in Texas. This is due to continued technical issues following the rollout of the new form this year. KLTV7's Nomi Sanchez spoke with East Texas students and schools on the issues that they're facing and how it's affecting them.
For Faith and Grace, this was their first time filling out the FAFSA form.
It was short, sweet, straight to the point.
The application for the upcoming academic year has fewer questions and is supposed to have simpler processing. However, its release was delayed.
Typically, FAFSA opens up in early October, and this year it was delayed until the end of December.
By now, the U.S. Department of Education should have been sending colleges and universities the amount of federal assistance students qualify for, but another problem arose.
The actual formula behind the FAFSA hadn't been updated in years.
The formula used to calculate students' aid in the new form did not take into account increased costs of living and inflation.
That's why they delayed it until March.
So now students in higher ed institutions are left waiting for FAFSA to release award letters sometime in March. For these sisters, it's put them at a stop.
If I knew how much money I was going to get in financial aid, that might determine if I was going to, commute or not. Knowing if I'm going to have to apply to loans is a big thing because I don't have credit.
Additionally, glitches for some mixed status families and parents have set many behind.
It's not been a good rollout. Regarding the FAFSA issues, there are more than 14 or 15 issues related to just submitting the FAFSA.
Grace and Faith have already committed to TJC and UT Tyler. Without the delays, they could have made a decision knowing how much aid they would receive. But now,
it's just completely a step of faith into hopefully getting some money back.
A step of faith they hope works in their favor. Nomi Sanchez, KLTV 7 News.
Well, financial awards are typically given on a first-come, first-served basis. Students who have not submitted the application risk potentially receiving less aid.